You work hard, behave responsibly, save into a pension scheme, and have a happy retirement, right? Wrong. After decades of saving into government pension schemes, when it's time to collect, many Nigerians across the country get nothing unless they pay.
Okay, let me see what I have here. 4, 5.
But while some retired people sink into poverty waiting for their pension, others are raking it in.
He's entitled to 300% of his basic as pension. He's entitled to 4 cars, replaceable every 4 years. One man.
I'm Yemisi Adegoke, and I want to find out why politicians are awarding themselves huge pensions while ordinary people are having to fight to get anything at all.
When you retire, it's like you are in hellfire. You are no more a human being.
Every year in Nigeria, thousands of nurses, teachers, and other government workers retire, expecting to swap their salary for a pension to support them in old age.
My mother was a healthcare worker for 27 years and paid into the pension plan.
We started looking into claims of corruption around pensions, and Africa Eye was contacted by Obaji Akpet, a reporter from Cross River State.
When she retired last year, August, she should have started receiving her pension, but she didn't. Like many Nigerians will do, I had to step in to support her financially while she waited.
Life is no money, no nothing, and I cannot do anything. Cannot take care of my family. Even my uncle, my aged mother is there. I cannot take care of her. Cannot take her to the hospital. So I am just like that, stranded.
She reached out to the pension office in Calabar to find out why. And she was told she would need to pay some money to get her papers moving. Because she was anxious about her pension, my mother paid 6,000 naira.
The past months, 5 months, they said they will not give me arrears.
And then, in October, Obaji got in touch with the pension office. He too told us he was asked to pay a bribe of 10,000 naira, and that's when he got in touch with us.
Safe journey.
We asked him to secretly film any further interactions he had with the pensions officials.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
A month later, he was asked to come to Calabar by one of the officials. Her name is Angela Essa.
So far, my mother and I have made 2 sets of payments, and I still don't know when she'll get her money. According to Angela, I need to pay another person in the department.
Hi, Mrs. Etta.
We're supposed to give up 56 steps. You know, money in our own civil service is a step. The step they give to you that determine maybe I'll direct you to another person, the bigger person.
All right.
Bye.
I am off to see Angela again, this time wearing a hidden camera. Angela tells me the money I have already paid will help move things along.
Oh, they are typing it. They really motivate things.
Money is sucking.
My brother. I saw that.
I still don't have a definite date or time when my mother will get her pension. But Angela thinks she has done a good job and wants another payment. She describes my visit to her office as a visit to a temple, and she wants an offering.
Then they got this place, shrine. You know, say when you go shrine, you must drop something.
No one actually uses the word bribe, but it seems that payment is expected. Payment to a government worker whose job it is to pay out pensions.
Okay, let me see what I have here.
Obaji does what he is expected to do.
4, 5. Okay. For the shrine.
All right. Thank you very much. You've done well.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So Obaji and his mum have now made 3 payments to Angela, amounting to 21,000 naira. But apparently, it's not enough. 5 weeks later, and with his mother's pension 4 months late, Angela calls Obaji, who's now in Lagos, asking for more money. It's for someone higher up, she claims. We have no idea if there really is another higher-up person who needs to be paid, or if it's just more money for her.
We should try and reach out to so that they allow the file to go. That's what I was saying. Forward money to me, let me forward to him. Once they see money, they keep quiet, and the file will go.
How much exactly does he want?
I didn't tell him how much. You forward what the money I told you. I'll just tell him that's what the person can afford. So if you send the 20 and afford it to him.
What's the guarantee that mom is going to have her papers processed and then she's going to be paroled?
What we do what is required now, that's all now.
Bring it.
When we speak to Margaret in January, 1 month later, she still hasn't received her pension.
It's our money that they used to cut and keep. They immediately retire, you should just go and they'll give you the money en bloc. They'll wait so that you die. It's what we are passing through everybody in Cross River State. When you retire, it's like you are in hellfire. You are no more a human being again.
I feel so bad that my mom still hasn't received her pension yet. After paying so much, having to go through all the process of bribing her and all that, she demanding so much from us. Nothing.
Delays in getting your pension or having to pay to get it aren't just problems in Cross River State, they are national. We've heard stories of pension corruption at all levels and across Nigeria. The pension funds are being emptied, leaving nothing to pay people with. And in fact, in 2019, 400 billion naira was owed to pensioners across the country. We then heard of another way retirees are being denied their money. I'm on my way to meet a man who's dead, according to the state. So just tell me a little bit about what you used to do for a living.
I was teaching mathematics, physics.
When Ogar Gabriel retired in 2000, he received his pension regularly until 2020, when it suddenly stopped. Cross River State had decided Mr. Gabriel, like over 1,000 other people in the state, either didn't exist or was dead. To get his pension, he'd have to convince the Auditor General, Mrs. Franca Enoch, seen here at her inauguration, that he was alive.
You need to be screened to confirm that you are alive, you are not dead. We said, okay, we are ready. But by 2015, I was stroke-ridden, paralyzed on the right-hand side.
Despite his medical challenges, Ogar Gabriel made the trip to the Auditor General's office. Even though he only had photocopies of some documents he was told he needed, he was confident.
Seeing me physically present before you is more than sufficient proof that this person is alive, is not dead. A dead man cannot be talking to you like that.
Another reason he was confident was because he's known the Auditor General since she was a little girl.
I called her name, but Franca Ode. Remember, I am the one before you, your own elder brother, your uncle. You used to call me uncle.
According to him, the Auditor General was furious. And when his wife spoke up to support him, it made her even angrier.
She said, don't bring personal relationship in here. So they say, go out, don't come here unless you come with a letter of apology from your wife. You say you must write a written apology, otherwise your husband will never be screened again.
And Mr. Gabriel isn't the only retired person who claims they were denied their hard-earned pension because Mrs. Enoch took offence. So each time you went to the office, you have to carry all of this with you? Mrs. Epeyong Ewa worked as a nurse for 22 years. She had been living off her pension for 15 years when suddenly, in May last year, it stopped.
The chairman of my own local government called me that I should come home. My name is among the post-pensioners. I said, please, how possible? Maybe I woke up from the grave.
Like Mr. Gabriel, she had to prove to the Auditor General she was alive by going back to Calabar again and again. She says 6 months after her pension stopped, she finally got to speak to the Auditor General.
I said, Madam, please, don't don't let me die here. I came in from Lagos this morning, since 2 days on the way. Could you please help me and interview me? Let me go. Copy to local government.
But the Auditor General was not about to reinstate her pension.
She said, no, if I don't have that slip, she will not attend to me. I was devastated. This is the second trip. Going back again empty-handed with no result.
We heard stories like this over and over again from all across the state. Pensioners old, sick, and out of money waiting for the Auditor General. Eventually, they'd had enough, and on the 3rd of November 2020, they started a protest.
We were there 8 o'clock till 12:30 noon.
I saw them coming out with chairs. They said they want to block the gate, that the woman has postponed the screening.
Old people, some paralyzed, some cannot even talk like I'm talking. Some cannot move at all.
Registered our grievances. Yes. The whole world is aware of what is happening today. Yes.
People have borrowed money to come from Obaliko, far places. Where do we go and stay? Where is the money to pay hotel bills or to feed ourselves? 7 months we have not received our pension.
We will sit there and be waiting for her there.
Once the protest had quietened down, Mrs. Iwa says she was taken into a room full of people, including the Auditor General.
She began to tell them that this woman has been the one inciting this protest, that have insulted her, insulted all her staff, that for that reason she will not screen me. She wanted to deny me of my own rights for asking for my own money. She said, I must apologize. If I don't apologize, either I forfeit that screening and go to court. She now began to dictate for me what to say. They threatened me, so under duress, they now were dictating what to say.
I render my unreserved apology to you for all that have happened.
This apology was filmed by someone in the room and put online.
And the entire staff of this office.
For your behavior.
For my behavior.
It's outrageous hearing the story of this 62-year-old woman who spent 22 years working for the state government, not only being denied her pension, but then being intimidated by the Auditor General and security personnel. Fake or ghost pensioners are a real problem in Nigeria, and the adding of fictitious names to the payroll is one of the ways money is stolen from government funds. Sometimes there are more fake pensioners than real ones.
A state that cannot have more than 3,000-4,000 pensioners have 10,000.
Jerry Uwa is a finance and business journalist familiar with the problem of pension fraud. But he doesn't think the culprits are ordinary people like Mrs. Ewa and Mr. Oga.
What happens is that somebody will add names of non-existent pensioners. That one goes to him. The people at the top, it's not something at the grassroots. The people at the top, they will pay those ghost pensioners immediately, and the money goes into their pockets. It's not something that a clerk can do, because it will be discovered. It's right up there.
So how can states tackle the problem of ghost pensioners? Kolawole Oluwadare is the Deputy Director of SERAP, an organisation that advocates for more transparency in government. He says technology should be available to identify them.
If we have digital ID system that is robust enough that covers everyone, why can't payments be done electronically? Why do they have to come physically? Covering great distances, including those staying in remote areas. And these are very poor people, by the way.
But even if you don't have advanced technology, it still shouldn't take weeks, months, or years to work out who is alive and who isn't. I'm in Okele, which is a community in Yala, where last October, this list was published with over 300 names of people declared dead, and as a result, their pension payments stopped.
99% of the persons there are still alive.
The local community leader takes me to meet some of those on the list of dead people.
Ladies, come out.
Welcome. Good
Thank
afternoon,
you.
Mr. Cletus. So your name is Mr. Efuka Cletus Laffin.
Yeah.
And that's your name here. So your name here is on this list, sir, that says that you are dead. That's the list.
I'm not dead, madam.
I can see that you're alive. So this is your national ID card.
Yes, madam.
And this is your name on this list of people that are supposedly dead. Here's your ID confirming you are who you say you are. Mr. Cletus stopped getting his pension in June last year.
They have not paid me anything.
So how have you been surviving?
But I'm managing with my dad, my small farm. My children, they were in school. Now I've stopped them because I have no money.
He has been to Calabar 5 times.
It's up to 6 hours. Because if you go in the morning, you will reach there when it is 4 o'clock. We go there at time, we used to sleep there up to 2 weeks before we come back. When you come, you go again.
2
like
weeks?
Like that.
So you'd spend 2 weeks in Calabar even though you don't have anybody there?
Now, so we just sleep outside like this. Rain will fall.
You sleep outside?
Outside like this. At time, we sleep outside while the rain is falling. That is why I'm sick until now. My body is not like before.
Madam Captain, it's a pleasure.
Good evening. I can see that your name is here on this list.
Yes,
of
that
ghost.
says
It says that you're a ghost pensioner. But here you are, alive.
Yes.
ID card, your voter's card. She shows us her voter card, and it appears to be the same woman who is alive and standing in front of me.
My bank statement.
But it's been nearly 2 years since she last received her pension.
I have voter's card.
While some pensioners are struggling just to get the money they're owed, there's a group of Nigerians who expect a bit more from retirement. Politicians. Because Nigeria is run on a federal system, each state gets to decide a lot of its own laws, which is handy if you run the state. Like the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, who sanctioned a law just 2 months before he retired, which would give him quite a pension.
He is entitled to 10 million naira every month as overhead cost. Overhead of what? Nobody knows. He's entitled to 300% of his basic as pension. And yet, this man, whose gratuity and entitlement has been paid immediately after he left office, is owing 10 billion naira in pension arrears.
So although the state might not have the money to pay ordinary pensioners the 10 billion naira it owes them, there always seems to be money to pay the politicians. The current government of Zamfara eventually repealed this law, but he's not the only ex-governor to benefit from preferential pension laws.
Like Lagos State, the governor is entitled to 2 houses, one in Lagos, one in Abuja, in a location of his choice. That's what the law says. So if the governor is greedy enough to demand a house at Banana Island, buy a land there at $4 million per plot, then he's entitled to 300% of his basic as pension. He's entitled to 4 cars, replaceable every 4 years. One man. And that same state that is doing so much for one man is owing thousands of pensioners 3 years of pension that has not been paid.
No to political life pension.
Protests recently erupted in Enugu State after the House of Assembly tried to pass a law which would give ex-governors, their deputies and their wives an outlandish amount of money and perks for their pensions. Cars, medical bills, even funeral costs are covered. According to one estimate, it would amount to about 900% of the basic annual salary of a serving governor. Serap has been trying, through the courts, to find out exactly how much retired politicians get, claiming these laws are illegal. But so far, only one state has been willing to disclose any information on their pension laws which should be available to the public.
It is not only unlawful, it is immoral. That creates a huge burden on the finances and the budgets of each state. Monies that could have been otherwise spent on roads, on water, and education and health.
This doesn't just affect older people, it affects everybody. If you're working today and paying into a pension scheme, there is no guarantee you will get your money when you retire.
It's just basically taking what should be for the people. It's sad, really. Really, really sad. All Nigerians should be concerned.
It is too much. It is far too much.
Not many politicians are willing to speak out against their pay.
Good afternoon, how are you?
But Senator Shehu Sani is openly critical.
What a typical state governor takes home as pension can settle the wages of over 3,000 to 4,000 teachers. So why should the state dedicate such kind of money to former governors?
Chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdurrashid Maina, has opened his defense.
The government did try and clean up the pension system. They set up a pension reform task force, and in 2010, Abdul Rashid Maina was made chairman. But in 2015, he was accused of laundering 2.3 billion naira from pension funds. He is currently on trial for money laundering and receiving stolen property. He denies taking any money or doing anything wrong.
Maina never declared his assets.
But the man who investigated him on behalf of the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, believes he not only took it, but spent it. He showed me one of the more than 30 houses Maina is accused of buying with the stolen money.
So this is one of the houses? Oh, wow.
This is a $2 million house.
$2 million?
$2 million.
Is there any way that this $2 million, that he could have got it legitimately through his salary?
There is no way a civil servant of his level can afford that. That time we started the investigation, the minimum wage is less than 18,000. So as an assistant director, his salary couldn't have been enough to buy the house. Cleaned up to come in. How it started was there was a massive fraud was uncovered, was suspected to be happening in the pension accounts. We discovered that they were operating over 66 accounts, which are mostly illegal.
The government alleges members of the Pension Reform Task Force opened fake accounts and were using them to launder money that was stolen from pension funds. Maina has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
So I'll talk to him later when you're done.
His lawyer, Abel Abji, claims he did not steal anything.
Not even one account has been linked to him. Even some of the properties, the alleged process of crime, were properties he inherited from his late father. These properties were acquired long before he was, appointed chairman. He is very confident that he would come out of these challenges blameless, and the court will vindicate him.
Whether Maina is found guilty or innocent, it's clear someone took 2.3 billion naira from the National Pension Fund. And the looting of public pensions, which is happening across Nigeria, leaves ordinary people in desperate need.
These are people that spent, their best years in service to the state.
Yes.
And they're now having to come and beg for what's owed to them.
Not only even begging for them to be screened, the attitude, no respect given to them, no honor given to them. They are being treated as beggars on the street for their own civil rights. Those are the things that provoked my anger.
Back in Calabar, where we started our investigation, Mr. Gabriel, Mrs. Ewa, Mrs. Akpet and Mrs. Mburo are finally receiving their pensions. Though not all have been paid the thousands and thousands of naira they lost due to their pensions being illegitimately withheld for so many months. Efika Cletus still has not been paid any of his pension and has no idea when or if ever he will. Despite years of promises of change from the very top, we found the pension system still hampered by incompetence and corruption, causing devastation in the lives of elderly and vulnerable Nigerians. We put the findings of our investigation to Mrs. Angela Etta, Mrs. Franca Enoch, and Governor Ben Ayode of Cross River State, and asked for their comments. They have not responded.